What's going on, chat? Just give us a minute here, getting something fixed, and then we'll be ready to go.
10.
Here we go.
9.
Let's get ready, guys.
8.
Does coming.
7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2.
2,
1.
1. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Knights of Teleria podcast. Thank you all for joining us on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Hopefully it is nice, bright, and sunny outside where you are, and you're enjoying your day outside while watching us on your phone and having some fun. We got to talk about a lot of things today. We got champion rebalances, new champions coming in, arena fixes, and we got to talk about a particular content creator who pulled the Gina and was really upset about it. Let's see, maybe if somebody can find out who that is. But before we get into that guy, let me introduce my co-host for today's podcast. In the top little red box, we got Mr. Final Campachi. Ken, what is going on, brother? How are you?
Doing good. It was a long Sunday again. Take my time to do some shard pull for the stream. Unfortunately myself, I didn't get lucky. I opened 35 primal. No chance this time, but hopefully next time. Hopefully you guys doing good as well. Yeah, that was it.
Awesome. Next up, we've got all the way from Texas, the Dab Master himself, Mr. Zero Brew. Zero, what is going on, brother? How are you?
I am doing just fine. I've been told I got to keep my answers short today, but my wife got me an early Father's Day present. I had the Zero Brew exclusive Funko Pop.
Sick. Let's go.
It's got the faux hawk, the sandals, the khaki pants, and a little game controller and headset. So thank you. Shout out to Lady Brew on the Zero Brew Funko Pop for Father's Day. Really cool.
Which I actually got to talk to her yesterday a little bit, guys. So we were on the phone and I got to say hi to her. So that was pretty cool. Next up, we've got a endgame player with a low spend perspective, Mr. MXPJE. PJ, what is going on, brother? How are you?
Doing good. It's kind of chilling. Not much going on this weekend. Just relaxing. I feel like Raid, we're kind of in like a down-ish time. We do got some events happening right now, but I feel like we're just waiting for the event dungeon and this big Chaos Awakes event to start. But doing good. Can't wait to talk about Raid with you guys here.
Awesome. Next up, we got the perspective from a top 100 live arena player, Mr. Gestel Gaming. Gestel, what is going on, brother?
Not much, man. I've been focusing on this Faction War hard mode, trying to keep the perfect stars. I really want to get this mythical champ for live arena, so I've been focusing on Faction Wars. I guess that makes sense. But still perfect. I haven't slipped up yet. Got to keep it going. I feel like I'm close, but we're like not even close. We got like I don't know 3-4 more weeks of this. So. But it's been fun. I've been enjoying it. It's been really annoying, but like frustratingly fun. And for some reason, I find it more fun than Cursed City. Does that make any sense? I don't know.
No, I mean,
like
I like
thing.
Cursed City, but I feel like I look forward for the reset, and then after reset's over, it's like the first thing I do, and then I'm like, all right, I guess I'm back to full autoing everything. Like, so yeah, I mean, I get you, I feel you there, and I definitely get the feeling that it's like, wait, I've done so much like consistently every day, but I'm only at like 384 out of 945 stars, so it's like, yeah, we still got weeks to go.
It's only gonna get harder.
Exactly. Next up, we've got the big brain in the community that I love to hang out with and talk, especially about relics and lots of other things. Get prepared, guys. We're going to go on a rant spree here. Mr. Bick, what is going on, brother? How are you?
Oh man, on a rant spree, you say? Yeah, I've not been unlike Gestel, I've not been enjoying. Like, yes, finally I get to use my 2 mythical Ashnar, put some stun sets on them. Here, guys, finally the peak endgame content I've been waiting for to enjoy with my mythical champions. 2 hours later of resetting, hey, I finally managed to land 15 stuns. I've not been having a lot of fun in this game at the moment, so yeah.
I remember when you sent me that picture and you were like, dude, my mythicals, OP champions, and I'm sitting here 3 hours. And guys, I'm just sitting on my lunch break and I'm just like, all right, let me try. I guess I got to get it done. And like 15 minutes, I was just like, okay, look, it's done. 15 minutes. He was just like, you're an asshole. And then last but not least, we've got my brother, Mr. JR Star 3. Jay, what's going on, brother?
What's up, man? It's been an interesting week, with all the new information coming in. Just excited, for once. Doing hard faction wars as well. I've been having a little bit easier time than most people because I do have a lot of champions build. Most people don't have 5 Vogots or 4 Painkeepers, things like that. So a lot of trolly champions that I have multiples of. So this wasn't that hard for me. It's starting to get really hard after the first boss. I'm starting to get annoyed on certain stages. Like the Elva we were talking about here as well, Elva and the whole situations with passives and buffs. It's like, bro, why are you trolling us? But other than that, just excited for the new fusion coming up. Very excited.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're one of the ones that has, I think, what is it, 3 or 4 of the, what the hell is the guy from the bomb champion from the Demon Spawn?
Soul Drinker.
Soul Drinker, yeah, you got like 3 or 4 of those built. I was like, yeah, I guess that faction's going to be pretty easy for him when it comes to that having to use bombs, right?
Yep, it was easy.
So, all right, let's go.
You want to know something? You want to know something funny?
What's that?
I basically spent half the day messing around on the bomb challenge, and I ended up building a Lord Shazar and stuff, and eventually managed to. And then the next day I pulled a Commodus.
That's nice.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's
I literally built and invested, fully booked him out, mastered everything, and I was like, next day, well, in the vault you go.
He's still a pretty solid champion to have. Chat, how many of you guys are using a Lord Shazar? Yeah, right. I mean, I've got a +3 one that I use, so definitely, especially if you're going to play bombs. All right, so we got a lot of things to talk about today. First of all, I want to touch up on hard faction wars. This week we had probably one of the most toughest challenges, which was Orgrin Tribe, and it was the first boss. At least for me, I feel like this was probably one of the most hardest and difficult crypts to take care of because there's literally nothing. How did you guys fare out with that one? Was that challenging for you, or was there a different one that was challenging? PJ?
Yeah, Ogren is going to be tough personally, probably for a lot of people. I just kind of went pure damage and just hit straight to the boss. I noticed the ads are super tanky. Like, they are crazy tanky. I was using my Herculetus, not for this, but for Undead. With his A2, he was one-shotting the ads, and then it was like barely doing like 10% to the minions. I was like, wow, that's insane. But yeah, for the Ogre specifically, I went with like my pretty much best gear on Siege Hulk. I went really good gear on Shatterbones, and then I went with Iggy and was just A1ing the boss pretty much, and he was helping me get through the waves. And yeah, it took me a couple times, and I just went pure damage and just kept on hitting the boss over and over, and it was not ideal. I'm scared for the upcoming Ogren tribes.
Well, so I think the biggest problem, and maybe chat, you guys could let me know if I'm off a little bit here, but it was this boss counterattacks every time you AoE and would put the fear on you. Exactly. And then you would put the fear on you. So there was no clear way to keep yourself cleansed. I mean, this is the team that I used. I had to put in a man-eater. I leveled up a second Siege Hulk, which thank God I kept the 5-star soul on him. He's amazing. Yeah, definitely will be building the second one fully out. I brought the gear grinder in just in case, but my man-eater was sitting at like 400 speed. I don't think anybody on this team was less than like 280, 290. And it was still very challenging. I mean, it took me 4 minutes, 89 turns. And I probably spent more time on this than I did trying to take down the orcs with the stuns. That said, Gessel, what about you? Did you have anything else challenging? Was this one the hardest one for you?
Well, I have Gizzy, so I kind of felt like that was a little bit easier for me. I would say the hardest one by far for me was yesterday's Lizardmen beating that boss on 100 turns. That was really difficult. I had to throw my best gear on Razin and my best gear on Romantu to get the damage to be able to do it. Those are going to be tough, and I feel like almost 100 is going to be more difficult than like 115, 200. It might be crazy, but we got to see how difficult these waves are to kill up there to see how much that really slows you down. But if you're not getting into that Lizardman boss with like 70 turns, it's tough to beat it.
Yeah,
Very tough to beat it.
You're not going to be able to, because I think that one had
or you can kill it before it takes.
too.
Yeah, that's the one that heals. Yeah, but if you can kill it before it takes that turn, that's ideally how you got to approach it. And that's how I ultimately ended up doing it. But that's just because I had my ninja gear for Chimera on Romantu, so it was like all my best gear. But I think that's the hardest, and I think we got a couple more of those. So I don't know. I don't like that boss at all, man, because she's also swapping. She's also swapping buffs, I think. And the one ad is got the reflect damage. Am I mixing up bosses?
I think no. I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So
side.
like all that, and that throws out the provoke. That dude throws out the provoke. So like, and that's on his A1, bro. Like he doesn't do anything else. Like you provoke that guy, it doesn't stop him. Like you got to stun him. Yeah. So that boss is super annoying. I think that's gonna be really difficult for all the other ones. I think it's gonna be more difficult with 100 turns than the other ones. I may be wrong. The 100 turns is really low.
I think you're right. I think the 100 turn counter was the more challenging part. It wasn't taking the boss down.
Yeah, you get through the boss easy, dude. 100 turns is tough. It's like nothing.
Yeah. Ken, what about you?
For me, the biggest challenge so far was Demon Spawn, the bomb mission, because I don't have a Soul Drinker. Looks like I fit all of them. I have to build my Lord Shazar, but I didn't book him or the mastery, so that was quite a difficult for me because his bomb damage. I mean, minions has a loss of HP, man, and you need to kill them with the bomb explosion. So, like, final damage has to be come from that. So it was quite a challenge. Besides that, I was okay with the Ogre Tribe boss. I was a Grazur. He can give increased resistance buff, and he can hit hard, and the Gizmak. So they really, really helped me. But I think there was a stun, provoke mission. Bro, even I have a Grazur, which is his A3 skill, 3 turn cooldown. He's a Void Lego, which is no weak attack, and 100% chance to place a provoke. I spent some time on that one. I actually need to rebuild him in the provoke set. Do you know why? Because there's a Jingwon. Jingwon is the pain, man. And I keep seeing him non-stop on the rest of the faction as well. Pilgrim is very creative, they just copy-paste.
Yep.
Lizardman was super easy. I just one-tapped the boss thanks to the Teox. I also did a takeover on that day on one of my Weaver with Teox. But I use Lazarus, so.
Oh, okay.
But it was still quite a difficult with Teox. I mean, even I have a Lazarus there, like with the insane gear on him. That was quite a difficult.
Okay. Can you do us a favor and just turn off the AI bot that you're using for yourself because your camera's a little laggy? Chat wants us to turn off the AI bot that you have.
Okay.
So, there we go. Now it shows up a little bit better. Next up, let's go to Bick. Bick, what about you? We know you had a lot of fun with Faction Wars.
I've come close multiple times during the last week of throwing out my monitor, my entire PC, my chair, ripping out my desk that's built into the wall. I feel like the entirety of basically you either have a mythical in this faction or you have the faction Unity champion. Otherwise, you better have insane gear with a very large supply of silver. And if you don't have the above, then yeah, don't bother. So for me, for a Lizardman, I could not kill the boss. I could get to the boss quite quickly. Krokmar can absolutely destroy the waves if you have him in 9-piece Slayer, which is what I did. But I simply could not kill the boss. It was simply not possible. I don't have any good Lizardmen. I have all the epics, but basically my only legendary Lizardman, after spending like a crap ton of money trying to see off, is a Krokmar, and Krokmar simply does not do enough. Other than that, yeah, Ogrin is the joke of a faction. I think every time Ogrin faction opens, I'm just not gonna play that day. Even if you have a Gizmek, Gizmek is basically a one-star show in that entire faction. It's instead of giving us more Dwarf and Shadowkin fusions, maybe consider giving us a proper Ogrin fusion or a proper Lizardman fusion. That's basically my message to Plarium.
Well, I mean,
Can I
they
ask
gave-
a question?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is your Great Hall bonus, Live Arena bonus is max on the faction war?
Yeah, my Live Arena bonus is maxed, but my problem is my
Even two.
actual Great Hall is not maxed.
I mean, that's not gonna make a huge difference. So even two, that was super difficult for you. I
Yeah.
can say the same thing. It's already super difficult, even with this Live Arena bonus are max.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they are working on the hard faction. Maybe it's a bug actually. I don't know.
No,
I really don't know.
it is working. It was noticeable because I upgraded certain
Later,
areas
okay.
as I went, and it's definitely working.
Okay.
But the problem is like
Conditions.
it is yeah, the conditions, they are so incredibly overtuned, it feels like. And if you don't have like very, very specific things within a faction, it is absolutely soul crushing to like try to stick up with the 3 stars, especially if you don't have like millions upon millions of silver laying
Oh, yeah.
around to re-gear, which is absolutely insane because I've been basically my daily routine is basically 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work, and 8 hours of Raid Shadow Legends, I would say, and then it's basically been 4 hours of grinding Spider every day, 2 hours of re-gearing all my champions, and then resetting stages in Faction Wars in like 30 minutes to do all the other stuff in the game. It's basically like my entire Raid Shadow Legends time is being dedicated to Faction Wars at the moment, and I'm not enjoying it at all.
I mean, so the re-gearing part, I haven't really found an issue. If the champion needs gear, this has been a godsend, right? Just rip the gear off, put it back. Again, it's costing like 1.2 million, almost 2 million silver, having to take the gear off, put the gear back on. But I will say, like, this is probably, if this wasn't in the game, hard mode faction wars would be. I wouldn't even fathom to do it. Jay, what about you?
For me personally, if like a certain stage like Ogrin or Lizardman, if I'm trying to do a boss stage, if I can't 3-star, right, I'm still gonna go for the 2, and I'm gonna move on because you can always come back once we get all the glyphs, higher up glyphs that can help you get more speed or more defense, more accuracy, since they're so scaled now, right? Like they're Giga Chad. So I'm not really too worried. I have 3-starred most of the stuff. There are some times I can't, like maybe I'll just 2-star a boss. Like one of the level 7s, I couldn't, it was impossible. It was like 110 was a turns, and I was like, I'm not killing myself just to 3. I can always come back and do it, because you don't know what you're gonna pull. You don't know what you're gonna get like in Curse City or in Hydra. So you can always just come back. It's better to, I always tell people it's always better to 2, Because same thing would happen in original Faction Wars, right before they nerfed it. Normal Faction Wars, it was banana hard, and the community was like, "This is crazy," and only the top players, right? And that before back then, way back with Draco Gate and all that other crazy stuff, 1-star reviews. Remember, like they had to nerf Faction Wars because people were like, "This is just too much." And I kind of see why they were kind of adamant in terms of buffing certain champions, because now like Jingwong and certain champions are being kind of toxic in the waves. But other than that, like I've actually, like, I know this sounds crazy, but I've full autoed like 80% of my Faction Wars. I just have really decent gear on the champs and stuff like that. I will say one stage was really annoying, and I don't know why Plarium did it. I think it's kind of like I might want to talk to them, because I'm just like, bro, I understand they're trying to create a good concept. Like there's one that says don't when you kill champions, they have no buffs. But if they have, even if you're hard CCing the champion, their passives have buffs. Their start of their turn has buffs. Yeah, like Elvis, Jingwong, and then freaking Grand Oak Padraig. Like I'm literally locking them out, stunning them, and they're still putting buffs, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I didn't
too.
that stage literally had me almost crashing out, like legit on stream. So I was like,
And the problem with that
Can I
is,
mention? Bring the buff strippers.
yeah, the problem with that is that you have to pause, you have to go out, and you have to be like, shit, did I make it? Did I not make it? Because if you do kill one of them with a buff on, it doesn't say anything. So you're just like, shit.
Yeah, you guys need to be careful.
right.
So you have to be extremely careful with that. Go ahead, Beck.
You want to know what's crazy? That one was so incredibly easy for me because you just bring your Calamitous and you just kill everything.
Oh, must be nice.
It's so easy. Like, I don't see your problem, Jay. Just pull a Calamitous, dude. Like, what's wrong with you? Dude, come on. Are we even playing the same game here?
Zero, what about you, man? You're muted, brother.
Sorry, my kids were leaving earlier. All right, so I think everybody's kind of talking around the one thing I wanted to bring up about this. So I specifically did not do anything but the accuracy in my area bonuses, and I found it when I got to the boss extremely difficult to do it in 100 turns. And again, in-game account, mythical champions, things like that, couldn't even sniff top 100. And then I was all right, I guess now it's time, because I was trying to get to the first few ones, because those first ones are so easy that you could potentially overkill with that ignore defense and 30% crit damage and extra speed and all that stuff, right? So then I was all right, it's time to pull the trigger on this. I pulled the trigger on this and then been able to get 100 turns super easy. So that just broader definition, either they overtuned this on purpose, meaning I think that's probably a good game design, because it's always better to overtune something and then kind of step it back. It's always easier to de-nerf something versus make something harder after the fact. So I'm guessing that's what they've done from a game design perspective. And again, I wasn't around during when they had to nerf all the stuff, but like even Iron Twins, Sand Devils, and Shoguns, right? They were a certain level of difficulty, and that was before half of the power creep we have in the game, and they decided to nerf them as well and make them a little bit easier for the community. So yeah, I think it's poor design though to say, hey, you have to do this area bonus, meaning all these other areas of the game, you added the area bonus, just made it a little bit easier for you to do, but you were still able to complete it. I think you're doing something wrong if you can't complete it without having the area bonuses from a design perspective. But again, like I said, it's probably the overtuning, and give it a few months once they can kind of see the numbers and who gets the mythical champion in the game or not. And if in 3 months only 100 people have the mythical champion, then they might say, okay, it's time to nerf this back. So we'll see.
Well, I will say if Plarium nerfs this after I've gotten it, I'm gonna expect some compensation for my time, my silver, and everything else, because it has been challenging to just to do some of these. Like I said, like the Organ Tribe one was a absolute nightmare. When Bick was telling me like, yeah, no, the Orc one, trying to land those stuns, I was like, that's nothing, bro. Trying not to die on Organ Tribe was just killer.
That's easy.
Yeah. You know what? Let me just mortgage my house and get some Gizmax.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let's just do that. Hey, big shout out to Sorry. Big shout out to Mr. Brunt Cat Herder for the raid. Guys, if you're not following Mr. Brunt Cat Herder, make sure you guys are following him over on Twitch and YouTube, putting out some really good content out there. And I'm going to actually be a little proud here because I didn't call him Brunt Cat Herder, Catheter like I used to because dyslexia sucks. So I learned how to pronounce his name right. So that's it. Make sure you guys are following him over on YouTube and Twitch. All right. So we have a new fusion and he looks like a beast. We don't have any other graphic art for him. Unfortunately, Plarium does not want to give us that. They're keeping it all under hush, hush, hush. So we don't really know what he's going to look like, but we know that the design team always does a phenomenal job with them. That said, let's take a look at the kit. And I mean, I'm giving this guy, I'm going to say a pretty much 5 out of 5 right off the rip, but maybe I'm missing something. So you guys will let us know. Here we go. So we've got affinity is force, attack base. He's a dwarf faction, right? Attacks all enemies. Before attacking, has a 25% chance of placing a weakened debuff for 2 turns. Books up to 50%. Has a 50% chance, books up to 75% chance of placing a weakened debuff for 2 turns from the Corrupted Alliance. So basically, I think it's Undead, Dark Elves, Demon Spawned, and what's the other faction?
Night Revenant.
Night Revenant will be a 75% chance. And bosses can... and bosses will not be able to resist this, right? Grants an extra turn if the weaken lands on everybody. Pretty solid A1. The A2 attacks one enemy. Each hit will ignore 25% of the target's defense. If the target is from the Corrupted Alliance or a boss's minion, will ignore 50% of the ignored defense instead. And then it becomes down to a 3-turn cooldown. With the second part of the A2 being each hit decreases the target's attack by 5%, stacks up to 25%. So we get an automatic decrease attack, smaller version, but, and then increases his attack by 5%, stacks all the way up to 50. So we get a nice increase attack, kind of like Ninja. On the A3, attacks all enemies 2 times. That before attacking, places an increase attack buff on the champion for 2 turns. For each critical hit landed after the first hit, you will get a 10% damage boost. So on the second hit for the part, if we're getting, if all of the first hit is critical, then we get a 40% damage boost. We'll ignore unkillable and shields on a 3-turn cooldown. Now the passive, I have to say, is my favorite part of his skill kit. Activates the A1 every 5th turn, which that one's pretty cool. But enemies from the Corrupted Alliance, minions from bosses, and bosses themselves cannot critically hit this champion. All right, let's go to Ken first. Ken, what are we thinking, man? Are you going to skip this guy or what?
So there is a couple of the faction are my weakness. One of them is Bannerlord, no Taras, no Marichka. The other one was High Elf. High Elf is every one of us weakness, I think. There is literally no champion there besides the Star Sage.
Yep.
And Dwarf. I have a double G-Nut, but I use my double G-Nut on the boss. And guess what? The G-Nut A3 skill dealing 5% damage on the boss. So 15% damage. That's not really going to kill the boss, And I still don't have a Tyrande. And I was actually looking for... I was actually mentioned that a couple of days ago before the fusion reveal. Like, guys, if the upcoming fusion is from the Dwarf, I don't care what they're doing, I'm going to get him. And he's looking actually so good on the paper. He's actually looking so good on the paper. I believe he's going to help us a lot on the hard faction more. Beside that, event dungeon. Because corrupted faction, he already have a mechanic for bosses and the minion, right? So that can work on the hard faction more. Any boss in the game included faction war bosses. But event dungeon, we don't know how is the wave going to be looks like from the event dungeon. But if they are going to be like corrupted aliens, which is it's going to be triggered this passive skill, maybe he can help us on the event dungeon. So I actually recommended people go for this dude. Again, every time I said before the fusion started, we are going to see some test server video, so you guys can watch yourself and decide it. But in the paper, he's looking good.
Okay. I'm thinking what it looks like for opponents on the event dungeon. I think we're just going to be looking at these, to be quite honest.
You think so?
I think so. I think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think so.
Leak?
I don't know. We usually check out your channels for leaks, Ken. That said, Gessel, what are we thinking, man?
Yeah, I'm in kind of the same camp as Kenpachi here. Not, I guess, in different respect. More for my free to play account. I don't have a damage dealer other than Newt, so this guy will fill that role perfectly. In terms of my main account, I'm gonna definitely go for him. I feel like he's kind of like a tweener. I feel like he's
A what?
he's definitely good for like in between, you know.
Oh, okay.
In-betweener.
Hey, listen, I don't know what you young kids use for language today, okay?
Oh, was that? Well, I mean, you know, I'm up with all the young lingo. But so like the A2 is awesome for arena, and the A3 is very good, but kind of weird because it's unkillable and not block damage. And his passive is pretty good for arena because of certain champs he would counter well, and he's force, which is great.
Mhm.
But he is an AoE A1, which basically you're dead going against the Tarichka. And like I said, he ignores unkillable instead of block damage. There's few champs in arena right now where you're gonna find unkillable. I was trying to think of something. We were trying to think of something the other day. There's like Gizsmack and
I will say I've been seeing a lot of people play Swift Parry sets lately.
okay, yeah. So sometimes you see Swift
Carnage.
Parry and
Yeah.
so but mostly it's block damage, right? So I don't know. Like so from like kind of live arena, I don't know if he's gonna be good there. I feel like he's probably gonna be better in PvE circumstances. Especially with that passive, and especially because he's not enemy max HP, which is good for faction wars, as Kenpachi was saying. Also can be very good for Chimera, where you're looking for that raw damage versus the enemy max HP damage. So I think he's probably, on my main account, probably going to be more of a PvE champ. Whereas on my free-to-play account, he's probably going to be used everywhere.
Okay. How many of you guys out there are going for the fusion? I compared this guy to like a new level account changing fusion. Would you guys agree, chat? Is he a new level type fusion? Are you going to be upset if you
how
miss him?
hard he hits.
Yeah.
I think the damage numbers will be big. I meant to say that, so sorry. But yeah.
Okay.
I think damage numbers will be big. So we'll see that. We'll see that this week, I guess, when people get on the test server. But.
Okay. Bick, what about you?
I think this guy's amazing. The fact that he has an A1 AoE hitter basically makes him good in lockout meta and PvP. Something that we've also seen with Freya, for example. Like, you got locked out. Well, guess I will just have to hit you really hard. That is built for damage. Something that people can pull out of their sleeves. I think the A3 is amazing. I think battle aura, so he can also be used in siege. The passive is great. I think he's like the better Thor fusion, based on the multipliers, of course. But like reading his kit, he's going to be amazing in Hydra. He's just an all-round star. And I also want to point out there is a very difficult stage that a lot of people struggle with on Hardcore City in Soul Cross, where this guy will be the only nuker, I believe, that people will get to use on that stage. So also for like the people that are like really high up and they're like competing for Cursed City clears, because they are gonna be adding those border frames that are already in the game. This is probably going to be a pickup champion if you're going for one of those borders. So for the very mega end game Krakens, I guess. Yeah, and for the early people in the game, this is just a very, very solid champion, I think.
Okay. PJ, what are you thinking, man?
I got a few things to say. Well, first, it all depends on the multipliers, like you guys said. Second, I don't know what the big deal is of like why they're hiding his look. Like, why is it such a secret? It's like they showing everything else, but they won't show him. And the other thing is like the champion chase was like this big secret champion chase, and it's nothing's different. It's this you have the Plarian points in the middle. So I don't know why they're trying to be so like secretive and then just not have anything cool at the back end of it, or like there just seems useless. But as far as this champion, yeah, he looks really, really good. I'm definitely going for him. I think everyone should go for him. Hard faction wars, especially on the higher stages. He's built for like 21. All of the ads there are corrupted alliance, so they won't be critting him, which would be nice. Like the guys mentioned before, dwarves have good damage dealers, but more like boss damage dealers, not really good wave damage dealers, unless you have Trunda or maybe one of the new guys. So I think getting a free or a fusion one will be amazing. I think this dude could be good for Chimera and Hydra 2 with the A2 stacking up over long fights could be nice. It'll be interesting to see how his passive works with like ally attacks. If that's, I think that's gonna proc it, making him like get extra turns with just like an ally attack if he lands all of the weaken, which will be really nice. And yeah, I think he's looking really good. As long as his multiplier, they don't screw his multipliers, I would definitely recommend everyone getting him.
Okay. I wanted to do a little bit of a close up here to see if there was something, because they were talking about doing a new collaboration, but chat, do you guys think he looks like a Thundercat somehow? I don't know. Maybe.
No.
Could we place him in a Thundercat just looking visual wise? Jay, what are your thoughts, man? Are you going for the fusion?
Yes, definitely. I think everyone should. This champion is really good, man. I know he's not the greatest when we think of like endgame live arena, but not everyone's there, right? Not everyone's us. I know some people are still silver. But this is really good because it's strong affinity to what's really powerful right now. A lot of people using mythicals, magic mythicals, right? Yeah, it doesn't counter, block damage, but it does have like the capabilities, like anytime a nuker has the ability to AoE, get extra turns, keep scaling, doesn't need a lot of accuracy because things are unresistible, is just really good in general. Even though we haven't seen the stats or multipliers, I can already tell he's gonna hit. Even if he doesn't like Omega nuke, he's still gonna smack hard. Because it's just the way the kid is built. He is a 1-3-3 champion as well. So if you're building him like towards 250 to 300 speed, like most of our nukers, he's gonna actually still be consistent. He's not like a 1-3-4 or 1-4-5. Like, so the cooldowns are actually good in general as well. So I actually like the champion in general. I like it. It's really good. It's like a different version of Thor. Right? Like Thor is like, okay, well, I put some decreased speed, I can stun. This guy's like, well, I kind of give that increased attack as well, but I get all scaling on my A2, and I have AoE. Thor doesn't have AoE A1, right? So it's just like different little things here and there. Me as well. I don't have a lot of I don't have Trunda. I don't have a lot of dwarves at all. So I need something like this, not only just for hard faction wars, but just in general. So this is going to help my account a lot.
Okay. I'm trying to keep track of everything going on here because I got a new monitor. So it's like I'm trying to keep eyes on you, chat, and so many things. But so I do apologize if I seem a little distracted, guys. Zero, what about you, man? What do you think about the fusion? Will you be going for him?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think everybody pretty much is said everything that I would have said on this one. 100%. My Cliff Notes version of this is lockout in PvP. Not that I think he's going to be really good in PvP, but he's got that A1 constantly ever since, of course, Fabian is in the game with a lockout and everybody had a chance to get him. I look for champions with good A1, so I like that. And then, yeah, he's going to scale over time. So his longer fights, maybe Hydra, things like that. It's amazing. And same thing everybody else said about the faction itself, right? If you don't have a Trunda or an Arnorn or a Black Tusk or any of those cats, which are a lot harder to get for this faction, then like for me, I have G-Nut and Acrizia, which are amazing damage dealers, but they kind of suck at clearing waves, right? So especially when you get to that boss and faction wars where you got to do it within 100 turns or 150 turns, you want to get through those waves really quickly. And without Trunda, I think you're gonna have to rely on a champion like this to come in and help you get it done. So I'm absolutely going for him. And again, I think everybody probably should consider going for this dude, even if his multipliers are bad. If his multipliers are really bad, then won't. But it's still probably worth doing, my opinion.
Okay. I agree. I think this guy is going to be really, really solid. And I'm really surprised. Like, I think I really love the part about bosses not being able to crit him, especially because he's attack based. And it just feels like he's not going to be as much of a problem keeping him and sustaining him alive during those longer fights, right? Again, I'm guessing his HP levels and are not going to be that high. So you're probably, max, you're probably able to get him as like 30, 40K HP, as opposed to like, the traditional 50K that we're trying to do it right now for most endgame content. But overall, I love the fusion. I love the skill kit. I think it's very useful. I can't say enough good things about it, especially after Ishiyama, right? The only thing I will say is, Plarium, don't you dare put the soul behind the paywall and lock it for the top 1%. Don't you dare. All right, let's move on to one of my champions that I really am excited to get a buff on, which is Mountain King. Man, this guy was a relentless set, god tier nuker back in the day, and now, I mean, he's not going to be meta, but I think he's going to be pretty up there. So let's take a look at what they're changing. So the A1 is going to basically increase turn meter by 10% every time you use it, plus an additional 2% for each buff on the target. The A2, the change to this is going to be grants an extra turn if this champion kills an enemy, which the A2 will ignore 50% of the defense and does smack pretty hard. Granted, it is a single target hit. The A3, here's where we get the big change. It is now going to not just ignore shields and block damage, it's going to ignore unkillable, ally protection, shields, strengthen, and block damage. Unfortunately, the worst part is I think I would have given all of that up for ignore stone skin. Chat, would you guys support that or not? And then decreases the cooldown of the A2 by 2 turns if this attack kills an enemy. And then as for his passive, he will be immune to decrease attack and decrease and block active skills. And he also will get an aura in all battles, which is increase attack. First question is going to be, do you guys have him? And if so, is this going to make you build him out? And do you think you'll be using him? Ken?
I have him. I got him maybe a year ago. I already 6-star him, but I didn't book him or the masteries. Maybe I have to do that for the faction war, like book and the master, especially after he got a buff. But I don't know, man. I don't think I'm going to see him on the arena, to be honest. I don't think that's enough, in my opinion.
Okay. Gestel, what about you?
Yeah, I have him. I might even have like a +2. I built him for some point, or for some reason I built him as a +2, but I don't. Again, it's unkillable. It's not block damage. It's not stone skin. So I don't feel like it makes him super more viable for Live Arena, but like as is, he's super tanky and can hit relatively hard. So yeah, maybe these changes make him a little more viable. We'll see, but I kind of think he'll probably stay where he is.
Okay. PJ?
I have him. I think the buffs are good. I first thought was like, damn, I wish he would have ignored Stone Skin. But then I was thinking about it again. I was like, maybe he's supposed to be like more go second-y, so the stone skin would probably already be gone. He's probably gonna be slower. But I don't know. He's cool. I could see him in like the right situations, in like niche situations, being good. If you get some counterattack accessories on him, he can go off and hit really hard. I could see him being fun for like just being fun. Like I don't think you'd use him for really competitiveness. It'd be more for like, I want to mess around and mess some people up with Mountain King. For PvE, he could be cool for single target. He hits hard maybe for faction wars, but he's better. But yeah, nothing like, I don't think he's gonna jump to the top or anything like that.
Okay, fair point. Bick, what about you?
First of all, how's my volume at the moment? Because I was cutting off earlier, apparently. Is it better now?
Much better.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I would not use him after this buff. I don't have him. Even if I had him, I would not be using him. And after this buff, I would still not be using him. I think this is just a buff to make wave content a little bit harder for us and not actually putting a champion into the meta. I also think that goes for the other champion most likely going to be talking about in a moment, just like kind of what they did with Jing1, right? Because yeah, people are saying, hey, the game is well. Congratulations, we now have faction wars hard, and now some people are saying the game is too hard. I think it's a good method of Plarium to update all champions and like bringing them a bit up to speed. But I find it interesting that they are prioritizing the champions they are actively using in wave content instead of the champions that people have been requesting buffs for. So I cannot find myself caring about these changes. The only thing I can think of when reading this is great, my alt account is going to struggle a little bit harder.
Okay, you cut out there a little bit at the end, but
almost.
You'll get it. Jay, Mountain King, yay or nay?
I like what they were trying to do because he's not a fast champion, right? So the A1 was to help him out. If he's not using strong cooldowns, he's going to speed him up a little bit. The main thing that I thought was his base speed. We get it. He's one of the strong, like highest HP champions, base HP in the game. He's got good, he's tanky, like good defense with good attack as well, and he scales himself when it's passive. But bro, guy's moving at 85 base speed, so I got to build 15 more speed just for him to be naturally 100. So I thought they were going to put that there, or at least jump him up to 95. They jumped up Rosin, right?
Did they give him 95? Yeah, they gave him
10.
I think he's definitely been up on speed.
No, for this patch, I'm pretty sure they gave him 10. Like this
they're bumping him to 95.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see that. Yeah. So yeah, if they're making him 95 with all those buffs, okay, then that makes sense. Then everything else ties into play. Still has high cooldowns.
Slow. Still a little slow.
I mean, Rosin and some other champions.
Better than 85 though.
Yeah, that's what I thought was they didn't give him that. I was like, bro, why would you do anything else but not that? But okay, so 95 with that is not bad. He has extra turns. The A1 makes more sense as well. The A3, interesting. You have to go A2, kill someone, get an extra turn, kill them with A3, then you reduce to A2, go back. So he is way, way better, but his cooldowns are kind of high. So he's like a high, he's not like Rotos where it's like he has low cooldowns and extra turns. This is a high cooldown, but some extra turns would reduce. So it's kind of like all eggs in your basket. If you get the kills, you can start popping off and going crazy, but it's a lot of investment still on a champion. Unless you have like a 4 or 6 star blessing, I probably or empowered, I probably wouldn't use Mount King at all. He's kind of just like Big said, he's just there to help power creep the game again in terms of like waves.
Okay. Zero, what about you?
Yeah, I have him. I never really built him out to do much of anything. And would you ever use this guy? I mean, Ultimate Death Knight would still just shut him down, right?
That's true.
Single target hitter. Kind of Rotos, but at least Rotos brings so much more to the table that you can over time overcome a Death Knight that gets picked to counter against you. Yeah, I probably wouldn't build him out.
the one thing I will say is he's forced, so he's kind of anti some of the meta champions like Comedes, Lazarius, Siegfried. So maybe you get that second chance to kind of live and kind of wipe the floor with everybody if you put him in like a good set.
What about Siege? Dwarf only or something like that? Could be maybe nasty.
That could be pretty tough. But I feel like the biggest thing is if they had just made maybe the A2 AoE, I could say, okay, I think he would be a lot better. Instead of maybe granting the extra turn. And then I think Jay's point about the cooldowns, they are way too freaking high, because all you're going to really do is basically A1, and at most you'll probably get 20% turn meter back, right? So you're still going to A1, A1, A1 if you don't kill anybody. But that said, I mean, they're taking a step in the right direction. It's not enough, but we'll have to see how difficult this is going to be for us in the faction wars, right? Because we might be calling for a nerf after this. Moving on to, and I think Sus has to be the most excited about this because he pulled Blind Zero a while ago, and he was really upset because he's got nothing to do with her other than use her for an empowerment. I think for which Void champion is it? That said, let's take a look at what they've basically changed. So the A1 will attack 3 times, has an 80% chance of decreasing the turn meter by 10%, moving it from 15 and buffing it up to, well, it's a 100% chance to decrease the turn meter by 10% now, as opposed to before, it's a 30% chance to decrease it by 15%. So not the best, but hey, 100% is better than 30%, right? The A2 heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max HP, also places a block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns, then places a shield buff on all allies for equal to 30% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns. Now, the only thing they really changed here is they gave her a heal, which again, 20%, okay, at best case scenario, you're talking 20k heal, right? And then the A3 revives all dead allies with 35% HP and places a block damage buff on all allies except this champion for 1 turn, which I think is kind of weak. Ascended revives all champions, all dead allies with 50% HP and 30% turn meter. Also places a block damage debuff on all allies except this champion for 1 turn on a 5-turn cooldown. This one is probably the most weakest one. I think I like the A2, but other than that, it's still kind of, it seems a little weak. Being able to decrease the turn meter by 30% on a single target works out great. But chances are it's random hits, right? So it's never all going to land on one person. 1 hit will, but that's it. Overall, I think it's a pretty bad buff, but it'll make her a little more difficult in faction wars, right? That said, Ken, what are we thinking?
So I was actually thinking the builder before the buff, because like, bro, I'm not even using Sifi on these days because her revive just single target, and I hit the single target reviver on the librarian especially, because you can't revive your team by single, you know? I mean, the changes they are making on her revive is definitely good. Not enough, but good. Good direction. You know, she also a block damage while we can be annoying. But man, like, heal, no cleanse. At least give her like single target cleanse. We need a cleanse. We are receiving lots of debuff on these days. You know, we need a cleanse there. And the fun story is the heal all ally by 20% of this champion max HP. Do you guys know her max HP?
I don't think it's high. Yeah.
That's a void Lego. Can you show the Tranda real quickly for me, please?
Here we
Magic
go.
attack champion.
Take that!
Magic attack champion.
22k.
Can we see the magic attack champion? It's 23k on. Come on now, like.
Yeah, but it makes sense because Trunda is built very thickly, and Blind Seer is so thin and no muscles.
Fair
What about
point.
Hurding? Hurding thicker than Tranda. He's also magic attack.
Fair point. Fair
Anyway,
point.
like it's funny, like at least like her base speed is amazing by the Blind Seer base speed, like 150, highest base speed in the game. But what the logic of the giving this base speed? She doesn't have an increased attack, she doesn't have a filter meter, she doesn't have an increased defense. Like, what's the point? She have a heal, like, and it just doesn't make sense, man. And I wish this is actually, I think, second time she's going to receive buff, maybe third time.
Yep.
So,
And this is going to come down to a 5-turn cooldown, which with the book in it will make it 4
wow.
turns for a revive.
Oh yeah,
I
I just
know.
noticed that. I thought that's 4 turn actually. Yeah, well.
So, and then her A2 is coming down to actually the A2 is saying where it's at, so they're not changing that. PJ, what are we thinking? Are you going to build yourself a Blind Seer?
I don't have a Blind Seer, so no. But this feels like a classic. It doesn't feel like it's too good for us, but it's gonna be a bitch for us to face in the waves. Yep. Feels like one of those where like we're probably like the player base really isn't gonna get much use out of her, but to face her, she's gonna be pretty annoying. The buffs are good. I mean, everything that they did to her was solid. It just doesn't really still feel like she's a Void legendary. So kind of disappointing. I don't think if anyone pulls her, they're going to be still super excited to get her. They're in the right direction. Again, Ken makes a great point. The 115 speed, but no turn meter boosting, nothing like that. It's kind of feels counterintuitive. And yeah, I mean, it's glad they're working on her again. Kind of embarrassing that you have to buff a champion multiple times. Like, what does that say about them? Like they do it once, right, and then move on. I don't know. They shouldn't have to keep going back and back and back. I guess it's good that they are because they still need work, but ideally just do it right the first time. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think she's anything too crazy. She's definitely better though, but don't.
I feel like maybe on the A1 they could have just done an increased turn meter on her. By maybe, I don't know, 5% for each hit, so she get like a turn meter boost trying to get to the A2 and the A3 a little faster. I think that might have been better, but
for Faction Wars, I mean, if you pull her for Faction Wars, she'll be a decent support for you.
Yeah. Gessel, will you be using her in Live Arena?
No, definitely not. I don't think I don't really like these changes. Yeah, like she's been buffed twice now. Her originally, you had to sacrifice health to revive people. Like, why have they made her so bad? She's a Void Lego. I guess she was originally one of the first AoE revives. Maybe that's why they, I don't know, made her so bad everywhere else. Yeah, she needs to do more. She's not doing enough. She still doesn't do enough. So no, I mean, it's all about the revive. It makes her a little bit better for Faction Wars for us and I guess against us. That's about it.
Zero?
Yep, she's a no-go. Again, Void. I mean, what else can we say? I mean, there's just so many better champions. I would take a Pythion and an Eld 100 times over attempting to take a Blind Seer, and they aren't even Void. So, and those are all champions that everybody in the game had an opportunity at one point in time to get, right? So,
I think you're right. Pythion is way better than her and was accessible to a lot more people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, in fact, if you start pulling Void shards and you don't get a Scythian, you get a Blind Seer, you're probably going to break a monitor too. It's fine.
Well, I'll let you know when I pull one on my main. Jay,
you got a few extra monitors to spare. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, okay. Just quick interruption here. I pulled my 4th G-Nut yesterday or the day before, and I got upset. And the number one comment on the video was, "You are the only content creator that gets upset at pulling a G-Nut." At this point, if I've got 3 built, how many more do I need? Jay, what about you?
I also got upset when I pulled my 3rd Gina too.
I didn't get upset at the 3rd one. I will get upset at the 4th one and the 5th one.
But whatchamacallit, if you can pull up Blind Seer real quick. So, of course, we were talking about these buffs, but the one thing that I was like, why does a support champion that has 115 base speed, doesn't have enough HP, like we were talking about earlier, why does she have 1332 attack, but her defense is like 1035? Like, what? What? I'm not going to build this as a nuker. Like, what is going on with that? Right? Why so much attack? She's not a Raglan. We're not healing based off attack. So what's going on here? Like these stats, like it's crazy. Also, I would have given her more res, right? If she's not using accuracy. But wait, if we're gonna use the A1, she's a Void Legendary. Why not just make it this interaction or because not a debuff. This cannot be resisted. So you don't have to build act. So you're telling me I have to build act, I have to build speed. I gotta build res. I gotta try to get her HP higher because you didn't give us 21,000 base HP. Like you see what I'm saying? Like. So the buffs themselves are fine on the champion. It's just she's such an old school champ, and they need to fix the base part before the rest can make sense, right? The healing, the 20% healing, like if she had higher HP, that'd be okay. Why not give her 30% healing max HP if it's just going to be lower scaling, right? Or why not give her increased turn meter or increased speed buff on the A2 if she's not going to turn meter boost, right? Like there's a lot of things that in the base part that they could have fixed and it would make blind seer. This is the second time she's gotten buffed, which is kind of ridiculous. Like most champions, when they get buffed in the second one, we're like, damn. Like some people don't like. I like Norog. I like a lot of people's second buffs is so far. Forge's second buff is pretty decent. We're starting to see when they get to their second buff, it's actually good because the first one is like they're not even trying. They're just like, oh, we just did this. Was it enough? It's like no, right? So I actually like the buffs. I just don't like the way her stats are allocated. It doesn't make any sense for building a champion.
Fair point. Alpha, I would definitely be really upset at another Gina. I don't know about another Crizia. Although maybe, come on, 4 Crizias? What are you going to use them for? what would you use this for? I mean, that said, something that I just noticed, she wears a G-string, guys. I never really looked at her, but yeah. Jay's like, guys, I'm going to be right back. Bick, what about you?
Those are chaps.
I think this champion, like I said, they're buffing wave content champions. So is the following: every champion they add to be in the index. So that means every champion that they add to the game is pullable by the player base. However, this champion is basically purely designed to be wave content fodder. So she has low HP, low defense, because the intent is for the players to kill her as fast as possible. She's a void champion, so you can kill her as fast as possible because none of your nukers are going to be weak hit on this champion. They're basically upping the stakes here a bit because now with the A3 change and with new faction wars hard, if you don't kill her fast enough, she's going to put up block damage on her allies, but not on herself. So from a game design perspective, the player is still supposed to get rid of the blind seer ASAP. I don't think this buff is intended for player base. Plarium does not expect you to use this buff. Is purely done from a perspective of people are complaining that the game is too easy. We are making the game a bit harder.
I think Bick is trying to tell us that instead of nerfing the content, they're buffing the champions, and then that way we'll be asking for a nerf down the line on the champions instead of the content, because it'll be too difficult. Am I right?
Well, I think, let's put it like this. If you nerf something, player is going to get flagged, because the player base is going to be like, oh my god, they nerfed our champ. Why did they not buff them? And they're going to get upset. And Plarium is going to get flack for that. The community has been requesting for buffs. Well, here you go. Plarium is buffing it. The community has been complaining, or at least the veteran part of the community has been complaining, hey, the game is too easy. We're just grinding the same thing over and over and over. Well, Plarium's like, hey, we can get 2 birds with 1 stone. We can buff the wave content champions And this makes the game a bit harder, while at the same time it's a buff, which the player base has been vocal about that they want. So congratulations, everyone, getting exactly what you asked for.
Okay. That it makes sense, man. It makes sense. All right, we've got a new champion coming into the raid, a demon faction, HP based spirit champion. Now, I will not lie, I did not check out the skill kits for these champions, so I'm still kind of unsure how good they're going to be, but I will make my decision live with you guys. So, we got Charcos Turndrake. He is a spirit-based champion. On the A1, attacks one enemy, will ignore 25% of the target's defense. Heals all allies with less than 50% HP by 10% of this champion's max HP, which is pretty good. Attacks all enemies 2 times on the A2. Each hit will ignore 25% of the target's defense against targets with 50% HP. The first hit has a 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense on each enemy for 2 turns. The second hit has a 75% chance placing a block buffs debuffs on enemies for 2 turns. Each hit will ignore 25% of the target's resistance if the HP is less than 50%. Books down to a 3-turn cooldown and up to 100% for both of those. The A3 places a 60% increase defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also places a block damage on all allies for 1 turn. Books down to a 3-turn cooldown, kind of like Demitha. And then the passive. If an ally has more than 50% HP and is under any buffs placed by this champion, that ally deals 10% more damage. If an ally has less than 50% HP and is attacked by an enemy under any debuffs placed by this champion, that ally receives 10% less damage. If multiple champions are on the team, only one skill will activate, and he gets an aura in all battles, 28% in HP. The first thing I will say is I don't like the if this happens, this happens, if this happens, this happens. Make it plain and easy for us, seriously, because this gets annoying because depending on the situation, I don't know which way to build, right? That said, let's throw it to Gestel first. What are we thinking?
Yeah, this guy is overall. This is the first time I mean, it's the first time I looked at him too. So I don't have a super. I'm not like in love with it, but it's it could be interesting. I don't know. He looks all right.
I mean, we got the ignore defense on like the A1 and the A2, but then we're also healing allies with 50% less HP. I just, again, he's a nuker with debuffs that we're going to be placing, and it's like, if this happens, this can. I don't like the too many variables that are presented. PJ, what are you thinking?
Well, first I was unclear. I thought he was a Lizardman, so I thought he'd help out people in Lizardman faction, which I thought would be cool of them to add that. But he's a demon spawn, so that kind of throws that off. Overall, I think he's pretty good. I know JR said he liked the Norog buff, but I feel like this is almost like a better version of Norog. They should have something like this to him. He's got the decreased defense and the block buffs, but he also has some damage mitigation and damage like boosting. He's got increased defense, block damage. He can do damage himself, ignore defense on the A1. Yeah, overall I think he's pretty solid. I like him. I think he'd be pretty good depending on how hard he hits. I don't think he's gonna be like top tier for arena or anything like that, but I think he's gonna be a pretty solid PvE champion.
Okay. I mean, if you have Rosin, you don't really need anything else for Lizardman, you know? I think
tell that to everyone else. People were freaking out about Lizardman.
Rosin, I mean, I haven't built my Rosin in forever, and I found myself using him now. Ken, what are we thinking, man? Is this if you pull this champion, are you gonna build him?
I mean, he's better Ugo, right? For the Hydra-wise, he can deal damage, I'm guessing. I actually like his kits. He's HP-based as well. I know HP-based nuker. He's also attacked twice with the attacker anyway. The problem is why you have a debuff, man. I don't want to use debuff on the arena, you know? So I don't want to risk myself to being shape or the wand. So he have a Triton cooldown block damage buff. It's only single. My bad. It's only one turn, but maybe people can do some Flambo stuff like a Demiata, right? It's similar to Demiata. Maybe Chimera, but yeah, that's what I'm guessing, man. PV champion. I agree with the PJ. What the PJ said. I think he's a PV champion, so we will see. I guess his multiplier is important for the arena wise.
Okay. Chat, if you guys pulled him, would you build him? Yes or no? Jay, what about you?
Yeah, he's a good overall champion. Not like too crazy. They put a lot of conditions. Would have been nice if they just put that there without the conditions, but he's basically like a spirit version of Ugo. Looks like he can be built as a smacker, or he could be built as a support. So, you know, like some people like to build Helicaths super fast, or some people like to build nuker Helicaths, right? So that's basically what this champion can do while having some debuffs like decreased defense and block buffs. So some people are probably going to go nuker on him with some accuracy, and then some people are probably going to build him super fast with a little bit of AC and just build him really fast for the A3. So really good for clan boss, really good in general for like Iron Twins if you need that. Just a new champion that adds a little bit of stuff overall, but nothing too crazy. I think he's good. I don't think I think the Tholen is still higher, but he's going to be a good addition to the game. But he's a demon spawn because Chaos Awakens is coming, right? So everything's demon spawn pretty much. And he has a strong affinity against Tholen, so I guess maybe that's one thing. But overall, he's good. I'd give him 8 out of 10.
Okay. So there's not going to be any guarantees. Again, Plarium will also tell us things are changing at their discretion. But from what I'm reading here, he will be dropped from Ancient Sacreds Primals. And yeah, that's it. Nothing else. They may do a Prism event for him, but they have not discussed, or they have not told us that information yet. Zero, what are we thinking, man?
Well, I think he looks like Diablo, like the original Diablo. I don't know if y'all seen him in game or not, but he looks like his head and the whole thing looks very Diablo-esque. Yeah, I think he's okay. I do like I'm kind of in agreement with what everybody else is saying. Just an HP based nuker. I do like these ignoring defense. That's kind of cool. Decreased defense is always a good thing when you're bringing, you know, the debuffs and then of course increased defense and block damage. I think this is one of those though you kind of got to get your hands on and let the geniuses like Bick and others find like a super niche use for them. And shout out to you, Blaze, because I think you were the one I originally watched where someone else figured it out. But it's like the Blizzard, right? Like Blizzard comes in the game, it's like, okay, he's an okay fusion, whatnot, yada yada yada. And then it's like, oh, well, if you build him like this and you didn't put any books in him, you can solo Sand Devils with him in like 2 or 3 minutes and bring 4 food champions, something like that. Like this dude's kit screams like there might be some super niche thing that some genius has to figure out first. Maybe a Bronco, shout out to Bronco, right? Come in and do some sort of super genius thing with this guy. And it's like, oh, this is the go-to guy to you know, beat this really hard champion really fast with 4 food champs or something like that.
I will say he can't be worse than Ishiyama, right? It might not be a fair comparison, but he can't be worse than him. Bick, what are we thinking?
I disagree with all of you. I think this guy is freaking insane in PvP. This guy is the Helicat upgrade for Volcanos teams. His passive is going to make your Volcanos deal 10% more damage. And at the same time, Volcanos is already a very tanky champion, and this guy is going to make Volcanos more tanky when your Volcanos is low. The A3 increases Volcanos' damage and does the same thing as Helicat, right, with the block damage. But it's the A2 that scares me, because it's attack all enemies 2 times. And if this guy has any half-decent multipliers, too, he is going to set up Volcanos so incredibly hard to wipe the enemy team, because the first hit is already ignoring defense, right? And then you have you put up the decreased defense, and then the second hit happens with the decreased defense up, and then you get the block buffs. So you also majorly screw out opponent's team for a certain new Void legendary that was added to the game. That once she gets below 50, puts up a certain buff that works very, very good against Volcanos. And this guy basically totally negates that. I think this guy is going to be freaking insane in Volcanos PvP games.
Okay. If I didn't already want to go for Volcanos, now you really want to make me go for him, right? Let me ask, Ken, now that you kind of heard that from Bick, are you going to go for this guy at a 25x?
Look, here's the thing. So Vulcanos, if I have to use the Vulcanos in the live arena, probably Carnage will be better as a second DPS for me. I'm not disagree with the bigs, don't get me wrong. But my Vulcanos team, I actually want a support champion there. Not another DPS, like I have a lots of DPS option, bro. Like we have a Marius, like every one of us have a Marius, right? I mean, or you guys going to receive him. He's not going to be replaced, right? We are going to pick him if we start him first. Besides that, we also have Embrace, another 3 DPS champion, Carnage, which is, we need a one, how to say that, support champion. For the, my bad, we need a one faction ally for the demon spawn to use the Vulcanos, right? At least one. Bro, like, I have to place 3 DPS champion, then the Vulcanos, and 4 DPS champion. I really need a support champion there, and I was Star Duchess, and she's garbage, hot garbage. They need to buff Duchess, by the way.
You want to know what the best way to counter stuff like Nell is at the moment? Don't draft a support.
Oh yeah.
Put your champions in 2-turn stone skin.
Exactly, I know.
Without a support. And the Nell does nothing.
And the pray for the stone skin protect you, right? I know.
Yeah.
That's why we need the lightning cage, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with the bigots. If I need another DPS on this faction, but my biggest problem on these days is the support, man. Like, existing support champion, a little bit outdated. Mythicals are so strong, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair point.
But it's also about giving the players more options, right? Because
of course. They maybe don't have the champion I have. Exactly.
Yeah, and he's even the same affinity as Helicat. Like this guy is. It ticks so many boxes for me. Yeah.
Okay.
And what I also wanted to mention. Maybe this is something Blazin also wanted to talk about later. Is have you guys seen the upcoming legendary event that this guy drops? It's a 10% increase damage to the burns, right? Which also is very, very good on Volcanos. So,
Yeah, it really looks nice.
Yeah, it's. Sometimes I feel like they're just watering down the pool.
Could it be that someone at Plarium really enjoys Volcanos? Has made him a lot of money. I don't know.
It probably. We'll have to see if Jay Giggs can give us an insight on that. By the way, if you're watching Jay Giggs, we want to know. Last but not least, we got the other new support champion or attack-based champion for the Sylvan Watchers, guys. The Sylvan Watchers need a really good attacker. Is this guy going to be it? Is this guy going to be the damage dealer for that faction? The A1 attacks one enemy before attacking, places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's attack. Has a 50% chance of placing a poison sensitivity buff, debuff for 2 turns. Books up to 50%. The A2 attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance, books up to 100 of placing a leech debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Instantly activates all poison debuffs on all enemies. The A3 attacks one enemy before attacking, places a 50% increase accuracy buff on all allies for 2 turns. Has a 75% chance of placing a decreased resistance on all enemies for 2 turns. places 3/5% poisons on the initial target for 2 turns. If this attack is critical, places 3/5% poison debuffs on all other enemies for 2 turns. Books down to a 3-turn cooldown at 100%. Increases this champion's ignore defense effect by 1% for each poison debuff instantly activated by this champion. Stacks up to 20%. And then last but not least, fills his champion's turn meter by 5% whenever a poison debuff is placed. And we get a 60 accuracy in all battles. Okay, so we're automatically talking about building him with accuracy and damage. Based on what relics you're working with, I mean, we could literally not worry about crit damage and just go crit rate 100%, as much accuracy as possible, poisons, and then getting ourselves with the new relic. But I'm gonna let Bick go first on this. What are we thinking?
Chimera.
Chimera.
This is such an amazing champion for trials in Chimera. Brings the poisons, brings the poison sensitivity, brings the shield, brings the leech, brings the increased accuracy, brings the decreased resist. These are all things you need for trials, and these are all the things that are very, very difficult to get, and he brings it all in a single package, including the increased accuracy aura in all battles, which is arguably, like, accuracy at a certain point becomes like more difficult to get than maybe speed, even if we're like talking. This guy is clearly a Chimera champion for me. I wanted to quickly add about the debuffs on the previous champions. If he's placing debuffs, he also eats so that your Volcanos doesn't get cheap. Something I wanted to add. But yeah, this champion is screaming Chimera to me.
Okay. Jay.
When I first saw this champion, I do like, right? Like I thought first thing I was thinking, like, damn, is Plarium actually noticing what we're doing as a community with Nell and Cavalax, and they're trying to create another champion because he's getting boosted turn meter with poisons. But I don't like it's a lot of single target, right? So for maybe you're fighting a boss, that's fine. But if you're fighting waves, man, you don't want to weak hit that because then you lose all that, right? It would have been nice to at least one AoE, at least. Leech is okay too, right? To put AoE Leech if you're trying to get people to nuke. We needed a Sylvan Watcher nuker. Not everybody has a Lil, not everybody has nice mythicals and stuff like that in Sylvan Watchers. We needed more, because Sylvan Watchers is pretty much buffers, tanks, supports, right? We need more deeps. So this is deeps in a different way, right? Through poisons, which is nice, because we definitely need... Oh, yeah, of course, Mr. Mr. Renate, he's like epic. Well, yeah, he is really good. He is really good. But not everybody has a +4, fully blessed, stuff like that. I've seen a lot of people showing that. I have a regular one, not even plus. But anyways, but yeah, I think he's good because he brings other stuff that other factions have, and he's bringing it in Sylvan Watchers, which you can combine Michaelic Priest Ornn, right? Because the poison sensitivities from him, they can go together, or Nell, or whatever. So I think in general, he's a good addition to the faction. But just like him alone, it's like there's already that stuff in other factions that are almost on the same level. I'd have to see multipliers if he actually blows up on, like, hits really hard on those skills, because they're only single target. There's no AoE. So, yeah, like, of course, if you have the Unity Champion too, you can do more stuff. But in general, I think he's good. I think he's decent. I just don't think he's not like insane. I wish there would have been a little bit AoE, because trust me, for someone who does a lot of wave content, when you're just single target only and you don't have extra turns or stuff like that, like, you have to rely only on your debuffs. But as long as you don't weak hit the poison, the crit on the putting all the AoE poison, it's pretty fine. Reminds me of a Tomb Lord. You Tomb Lord, you need a crit, you use the A2, and then it poisons everybody like that. It's kind of like that in Sylvan Watchers for me. He does really bring good buffs and debuffs overall in general. I have to see more testing to know a little bit more, but that's all I can say from now.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was kind of thinking with him as well too. Is Ken, what are we thinking, man? Are you going to be upset if you pull this guy? Are you going to build him?
No. I 100% agree with the Jay and the big set, especially for the Chimera. I think he's going to be super decent, good there. Actually, not decent, good. So Chimera, this poison trial, it's I think it's impossible to do the poison trial without your poison champion actually dealing damage as well, because you need a lot of poison to deal damage from the poison, and you need to activate the poison to deal damage to the poison. And especially if we have a Kaldor, which is the unity champion on the Sylvan Butcher. Same for the Hydra. I believe you guys can be a very good synergy with this champion using them together. At the same time, Chimera team, because Kaldor, you need a faction ally, right? And bring this champion is a faction ally. Both of them is a poison mechanic. Both of them is a casting the poison debuff, activating. He also will ignore defense stuff. Maybe he can be very, very good with the arena as well because of the poison relics, the rare poison relics, which is amazing. And on this stage. And I believe he's very good. He's actually looks more solid to me than the Demon Spawn champion. If I get him, I will bet him, man. I will definitely build him.
Okay. Gestel.
Yeah, kind of just made me think of like a single target Theodore. Brings a lot of the same things, but he's way better suited for Chimera, obviously single target. But because he has a couple of those other things, the increase AC, decrease resist, the leech, you're not getting any of that from Tio, so it makes them different. I kind of went towards Chimera because of all the buffs and debuffs. I feel like that's probably where he'll be best. Single target. Can he fill in a slot? Like those 5 slots are like, man, they're coveted. I feel like on your Chimera team, like everyone's got to do something very strong, or you're not gonna get anywhere. You're not gonna get trials. Like you can always get the damage, I feel like, but you're not gonna get those trials. So, can he take one of those spots that? For a lot of counts, probably. I don't know if I could like I would have to basically create a whole new team around him. I feel like.
Okay. Zero.
Well, I like poison champions. Yeah, of course, yeah, with the new arachnid thingy, which I haven't got one yet. I'm super jealous of the people that have. I don't know. I kind of like this guy, and I really like his aesthetic. I like the way he looks. He looks almost like a Demon Lord-esque, because again, this theme is Demon Lordish, but in the Sylvan, he was like a really super evil Sylvan Watcher. And I don't know, maybe I was am weird by saying like if a champion looks really cool in a certain faction, it kind of makes me want to make them work more so than just a meh champion. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you also got to think like, how's this champion synergize with other champs in the game, right? So, I've built out the double Kentum thing and stun sets, and they have the passive when the poisons get activated. Does a whole bunch of damage to help clear the waves really fast. Of course, you got Teox, you got Stocked in the game now. I said Teox, Tio. I got a couple Tios built, stocks. You got champs like Sopharian in the game, where these champions also interact with the HP burn too. So, getting another champion like this, I'm not opposed to it. Again, with all the options I just said, does this champion make its way into a roster somewhere? I don't know, especially because he's like a single target. But yeah, I'm all about him. Make poisons great again. Woohoo.
Hey, keep it down there. Keep that rhetoric down a little bit. PJ, what about you?
Yeah, so you guys all made a lot of great points, and I agree. I think this dude's going to be, when I first saw him, insane for Chimera. That's what I initially saw. I'll try to hit some points that I think maybe some people or you guys haven't yet. I guess the biggest thing is day 3, he puts the increased attack or increased act before attacking, which is pretty nice. And yeah, kind of like what Gussel said, if I feel like if I got this guy, I'd probably have to rebuild my team around him. Not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but I do feel like you probably have to, make him like the centerpiece and build around him. And I want him. Hopefully they're gonna do like a guaranteed some way for him. I could see them doing that. They've done that in the past for these kind of events. They've done like a fade or some type of spend like that. And if they do that, I think I'm going to try to pick him up and test him out. I think he looks really good for Chimera. You know, like Beck said, every move he does brings pretty much like a trial, and that's huge. The other thing is A1. He gives himself shield for 2 turns off of his attack, so it gives him a little bit of survivability. He's attack based, so he's gonna be squishy, so give him a little bit extra to keep him alive for the PvE.
I definitely have to agree with the having to build the team around him, because I'm looking here and I don't really see a spot where I would be like, okay, I could take somebody out here and put him in. I just don't see anything. So you would definitely have to build a team specifically around him. So who knows? Again, we don't know the multipliers yet, so it could. Go ahead.
He opens up new teams, because if you bring up the team that you had earlier, you were displaying a Lydia, a Necmo. So now instead of running Lydia Necmo nation, you can run him and somebody else who brings a fear to basically replace Lydia, and maybe somebody else who brings a turn meter increase or an increased speed buff or a decreased speed buff instead of the Necmo. So basically, at the moment, Chimera trials, you need like when you look at all the trials teams and you're constantly seeing the same because they can fulfill all of these trials in combination with.
You're right.
This guy's basically gonna open new.
I think Pick's right, and you know what? I think the perfect champion to pair him up with is going to be Senna. I need to get a Senna. That's it. That's how I'm going to make him work, is by getting myself a Senna.
I think he pairs well with the Uni champion as well. Ken mentioned that.
Yeah, I think so. But again, it's with Chimera, we're looking at, a limited slot. Like Gessel was saying, you really are going to have to just design a whole new team around him. So again, we'll have to see what the multipliers are. I was kind of hoping for more of a full-out nuker, because again, besides Miss Rider Dythy, honestly, this faction has really no solid nukers. Like Miss Rider Dythy, Croydon, that's really what I see. Unless you guys have built something.
A little's not terrible.
I think a little Headspace a void.
A little is good, but a little is a void, right? So
he was guaranteed for like 80 though at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That is true.
And he was crapola.
Colette, maybe. Ash dude.
Which one?
I don't know. The Colette.
Colette.
Oh yeah.
Or at the top.
Yeah.
Heinz said we got nice. I guess he's okay.
Yeah, if you have nice.
I've got Nias, so I'm okay there, I guess. Actually, Nias almost one-shot the boss with the A3, but yeah.
That's so good.
We'll have to wait and see, again, based on whatever the multipliers are going to be, but all of these champions are going to be available for us to acquire until July 5th, so get ready for a lot of shard pulls. It's going to be interesting. I feel like we probably might have a guarantee. They didn't say who and when, but they usually do some. Although I do feel like we're most likely going to have the mythical as a champion chase, not guarantee, but whoever can grab them from first place. So I'll be saving my shards for that. So every one of you suckers out there that are blowing your primals right now, good luck. All right. I want to give a big shout out to Rosario, who takes the effort every time we get a raid digest to kind of clean it up a little bit and just give us a shorter breakdown. So big shout out to him for taking the time and doing this. So we've got some changes coming into Live Arena, which I believe is starting in 2 days?
Monday,
and
tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, and I think we talked about a lot of these and how, some of the things that could be fixed. And I want to say this first part was actually something we discussed on the podcast. So the number one change that's going to be happening is the seasonal points gained or lost in a battle will be adjusted. It will depend on the point gap between you and the opponent. So if the opponent's got a higher point than you or vice versa, there will be a difference in how many points you will gain or lose. to put it briefly, when defeating a considerably weaker opponent, you get fewer points. So if it's an easy fight, I don't get as many points. When losing a battle with a much higher ranked player, you will lose fewer points. So I guess the only thing that we didn't really see here is if you win, do you get more points? So, for example, when Ken went up against, who was it? Crypto. You know, Crypto would have lost more points, but Ken wouldn't have gained more points. So I think they kind of met us.
Primal shard as a reward.
He's being... But this was, you know, we talked about part of this working it that way, and it seems like they're listening. So change on the first part here. What are we thinking? Yay, nay, good? Should they improve on it? PJ?
I think overall it's good. I mean, it's kind of like what we discussed before. It seems like they're going more towards an ELO system, which I think is better. It's going to be, again, with Raid, they have great ideas. It's all depending on how they implement them. On paper, this looks really good. What is weaker? Like, how much is fewer? How much is what's the points going to be? How many more do we win? How many more do we lose? But on paper, I think it's good. I think it's a better system than what we had before.
Okay. Gessel?
Yeah, I think this is definitely way, way better. It's not going to frustrate as many people if you have to get, matched up with someone at a much higher level. At least you don't lose 9 points or whatever the heck it was, or 5 points, whatever it was.
So you would lose 3 points.
3 points, yeah.
So I'm guessing...
So now maybe you lose 1. That's definitely way better, right?
Well, I think...
I don't know. Do we know the number? I guess we don't know the number.
We don't know it yet, but I'm guessing it could be 2 or 1. And the thing with this is going to be so if you purposely lose 3 fights, and then you gain that, that bot, that will automatically boost you 9. So I'm guessing this is their way of trying to make it so that everybody at least gets the 1,300 points by the end of the season.
Yeah, I just think it doesn't sting as much maybe when you're, if you get matched up against someone bigger. It seems like they're going to try to avoid that as much as possible. So I think overall, I think it's headed in the right direction. Let's see how it plays out. But yeah, I'm glad they're doing it. I'm glad they're making changes.
Okay. Let's go to Bick next. Because we know Bick likes to get those big opponents.
Yeah, first of all, awesome that player. Second of all...
You cut out there. You're cutting in and out again.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, I'm basically putting the microphone into my mouth at this point. Can you guys hear me now?
Oh, yeah. I think it's when you turn your head to the right.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
We'll have to talk about your sensitivity.
What I was saying is great that Plarium obviously was, and they saw the light in ELO system versus an MMR system. The thing with ELO systems is ELO systems tend to need tweaking because it's hard to get them right on the get-go. I think a very, very extremely competitive game that does ELO incredibly well is StarCraft and StarCraft 2, where basically you hit like the top 100 at say 5,000 points, and then you have like the GOAT or the people that are in the GOAT debate for great stuff all times. They're like at 7,000 points or something, and this basically means that whenever they get matched with somebody who's at 5,000 points, they will gain 1 or 2 points. But if they lose against somebody who is at 5 points, they will lose 200 points. This is obviously at the super top of the ladder of what is the competitive esport of all time and the game that actually started competitive gaming. And I really hope Plarium manages to nail this, and I want to really see them pull in the community that when we see things like crypto versus that this isn't just something happening in the background, but this is actually something that the community like has like input in. You know, like, hey, we have the current reigning champion, etc. Now they're like going against the contenders and what. And I think this is a very, very big step towards such a thing. Will this ever happen? Maybe not. Maybe it will. It's a pipe dream line because I do think top level competitive PvP in any game can be very, very interesting. And yeah, I think this is a positive change. About the thing you mentioned earlier, basically everyone being able to hit
1300.
the 1300. I don't think this is gonna happen because I had to basically last season I came in gone for
You're cutting in and out again.
oh crap. I was gone for a few weeks, but basically at the beginning there's basically nothing to match against. You will just simply not get matches. So in the 3-hour gap, I think I only got to play like 20 minutes, and the 2 hour and 30 minutes besides those 20 minutes was just me trying to queue and get into a match, and there was literally no queue.
Okay. Jay, what are we thinking?
Yeah, well, happy they're trying to adjust things, of course, because people still probably don't want to do it. I know a portion of my community still, I tell them, hey, look, you gotta do live arena. It's very important for area bonuses now. We got ways to get more energy. Impulse gear is really good. I'm using it a lot myself, and we got rebirth and stone cleaver. But things like this are necessary for people to want to do it. Like we do it because we're late further in the game, but there's tons of people who still hate it. They don't want to go through that, right? They don't want to go through those trials and tribulations of losing a lot and dealing with stuff. So this definitely, hopefully they implement it right and it works, helps out for rebalancing for people in terms of matchmaking, stuff like that. Because that's what you need. You want your player base to keep doing it, more people queuing up, more people wanting to be engaged. So it's good analytically, and you don't want people being like, oh, I just wasted like an hour of my life, like things like that. So overall, I'm pretty okay with it. I think it's decent. So we'll see.
Okay. Chet, what about you guys? Are you for this or against this? Again, I feel like the only thing I would have loved to see happening is the points being allocated, not just the points losing, right? Ken, I know you're gonna want to get that primal. I think you're being a little too generous with the primal. I think I probably would have gone with just the straight out mythical.
I'm okay with both. Anything, to be honest. So we must talk about that, right? On the podcast, like you mentioned earlier. It's a good thing, but like every single, how to say that, competitive game, this is also going to be a problem because let's say we are in the like this game only have a gold, but let's say I'm a gold 1 player. Okay, I have like, let's say like 5,000 points, seasonal point. No, not seasonal point. Like, let's say I have like 1,000 seasonal point, but I'm gold 1 player. There is a same ranking, or let's say somebody actually below my point, but he's supposed to be actually gold 4 and something like 3,000 point. He just smurfing or the slacking. That's thing going to be happen. And that's not going to be fair much, and if you lose that, which is you are going to lose that, you are going to lose more point and he's going to gain more point, right? Maybe people are actually not rushing on the live arena season because of that. They're just going to take some time. After 1 week they will start doing their fight, and because of that their point always going to be low, and the people below them is going to be higher than them, and when they get them they can earn more points, right? I didn't understand wrong, right? So that can be the thing player need to be hopefully prepare for it, which is I don't think so. But yeah, in general, like let's say like all players are starting at the same time. There is no slacking. There is no like
Oh, I'm slacking.
sniping or anything.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting I'm waiting a week.
Oh yeah,
I don't
yeah,
wanna-
yeah. You are one of them. Yeah, you are one
Yes,
of them.
I am waiting a week.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. We will see. I guess next season, upcoming season, it's starting very very soon. So
Okay. I'm looking at some comments here, and Nicholas Mills over on the YouTube side says, my level 58 account shouldn't be having to be played against a 100 level account or like a 100 level account, which I think is fair to say. So the matchmaking still isn't perfect. Maybe the second part here that we'll talk in about a minute, but Zero, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I would give them credit because they listen to the podcast, because we all know we told them to do this, and they listen to the Blazing podcast with the Knights of Teleria to make some changes to this. So kudos for them for making changes. I think, yeah, if you're fighting the top 10 players in Live Arena, you shouldn't be really penalized for that, because you're just going to get smoked. It's zero competition whatsoever. I do fear, though, because if we talk about like Elo, kind of what Bick was saying, I do fear, though, there are newer people that have started playing the game who have probably poured 6 figures worth of money into the game and have a much lower account in terms of, I haven't been doing Live Arena, but now that I've dumped, a whole bunch of money into the game, and maybe I've only got like 6,000 points to Final Kenpachi's 13,000 points, who's $14 almost free to play. And he comes in with a nice and all these +4 mythicals and just smokes him. If he takes a huge drop in his points based on something like that, that rewards the spenders and not the player base. So I highly recommend Plarium just be very careful when it comes to that, because again, in something like StarCraft, I agree, but everybody's on the same playing field. It's not like you can buy a $1 million StarCraft account and get like some huge advantage, right? Everybody's on the same playing field, and it's kind of skill based, where there is a lot of skill in Live Arena, but there's also a very much financial incentive as well. So
It's a
yeah,
pay to
and
win
then
game.
I think, yeah, it's a pay to win game. But and then hopefully it. I don't know if we've talked about this yet or not, but I don't know if this impacts the, hey, I'm going to have people drive this account and just throw 110,000. In fact, if you look up the live stats right now, because I just looked at this the other night, real fast, and then I'll be quiet with my point. But look at the, yeah. So here's perfect example, right? So Cartman obviously sitting here at the number 1 with 110,000 points. Just 1 and 2 is the perfect example. Number 2 down there, they've done 7,000 less battles, and they're only 10,000 points off with the 87% win rate, right? That's crypto. And so I think, hopefully any type of change balances people throwing 110,000 battles at this thing, right? And to put things in perspective, the difference between crypto and Cartman is my entire points that I've earned playing Live Arena at like a 52% win rate or whatever I'm at. But I mean, that's the difference there. And it's really 8,000 fights versus I don't have a better account, meaning I don't have a higher win rate, but I'm going to pay someone to keep constantly do this.
But
Or
that's
have a team of people. Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Because with an ELO system, crypto would be number 1 and Cartman would be number 2 because of the win rate difference.
Yeah.
I want to ask, who won last season? Because this would be the
Having
third
crypto,
season,
right?
You
right?
don't get it until it starts the next season.
Yeah,
Look at
Cartman
the
won.
trophy.
So Cartman won. So okay, so
No,
they
no,
won
no,
for
crypto
one.
No,
won.
crypto won. Crypto's
Crypto
the
won.
second
You're
one.
looking at general click seasonal at the top.
Oh,
yeah, Cartman didn't try.
okay. So
crypto
crypto
won.
won. So who won the
yeah.
last
Again,
one? But crypto
Crypto,
he
won.
you
won.
won't get the
He's-
trophy until the next season starts.
Yeah,
Oh. Okay. All right.
So in 2 days they'll get it.
But
Okay.
at this point, the way crypto is doing it with that super high 89% win rate, they still can throw 2,800 fights, which is less than number 2 there. But they're at the way it is now, crypto's going to win every Live Arena season, hands down. And that's probably money and time combined to make this ultimate Nobody else can beat me.
Full-time driver.
If that's the best player on the best account, then they deserve to win it. That's
Yeah, and I'm not saying that. I guess my point is it would be nice to normalize, hey, I can throw 2,800 fights where 99.9% of the community can throw 500 fights at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's more of a volume thing. But you're right, higher percent rate. That's an anomaly there, but yeah. Anyway.
So the last part about the live arena season that they're going to be changing, and they're kind of vague on this, is we are improving the matchmaking system in live arena to decrease the chances of matchmaking between accounts that are considerably different in season points. Key here is no specific ways of matchmaking improvements have been made yet. So with that in mind, why don't we help them out here, and why don't we quickly give them a tip on how to do this? Ken.
For the matchmaking.
Yes. They want to basically eliminate the match, you being matched up against Cartman, or not make it as, frequent as it has been.
I really don't know, like, what kind of logic that I'm facing against the Cartman. Like, there is like thousands of the point difference. Like, maybe it didn't find any single opponent. Then let me search again. I don't know, like, instead of the facing the Cartman or something like that, with the like huge gap between us,
Okay, so
I don't know.
Ken's idea is going to be just don't match us. Just let us stay and let us rematch us.
Match us, like,
Fair
I
point.
don't know.
Jay?
Yeah. Man, it's crazy how a $600 million company can't even get certain things done. But that's what we're here for, right? All right. So number one, if instead of like waiting a certain amount of time and then going, well, can't find no one, let me just throw you at a loss, right? And throw you at someone insanely high. Instead of that, of course, free to play or other players might be like, well, just give us a bot then, give us a free win. That's not always the really good way to, because then you're always going to want a free win, right? So I think what they should do is what we've been talking about for months, almost a year, since they said that last year was going to be the live arena, like the year of live arena or the year of PvP, which I was surprised that was going to happen last year, but it didn't. So hopefully it happens this year. But why not let us rematch somebody? Why don't we get to like send like, hey, would you like to battle in live arena? Why not? Why can't we have clanmates that we can fight? If we're in the same tier, why can't we have a friends list so we can start having friendly battles? Things like that could add different things. Of course, they're going to probably have other ways behind the scenes analytically that are going to find better matchmaking. Who knows if they're using how much you've spent in the game, right? But I would just say you can add different features to allow yourself to have different variety instead of just like, oh, I've queued up. Oh, it didn't work for 2 minutes. Let me queue up again. Oh, it didn't work up for 2 minutes. Well, it finally gave me someone. Oh, wow, I'm 5,000. That person's 30,000. Well, here it goes. Let's lose. So instead of that, because that's happened actually to me multiple times, and I'm okay with that. You can't win every single time. I had like 56% win rate, and I was okay with that. And I don't have no Marius, I don't have insane OP champions, was using Timid and Kaja, and was demolishing mythicals. So I was very happy in terms of that. But just in general, I think that is definitely one thing that we need. Because the first part is really good that they're changing that. The second part is just like, well, we don't have anything. And we'll let you when we're done. It's like, you have nothing? And I understand they have like 9 games. Plarium has a lot of games on their table, but at least something? But at least they're being open and letting us know we just don't know yet, right? Instead of them just going telling us they're not doing anything, right? So it's better than they're trying to figure out something.
Okay. I have an idea here I'm going to give at the end, and I want to see what everybody thinks. PJ, what about you?
Yeah, it's tough. In a game like this where it's pay to win, it's hard to have really good matchmaking. I would say one thing is like it seems like right now after the 40-second mark, you kind of just get matched with anyone. So they could try to get rid of that and just have you run out the time. But as a community, we have to realize that we can't start bitching that we can't find anyone because there's going to be less of people to find. So you're not going to be matching up against the whales, but you're going to have to maybe re-queue once, twice, 3 times to get someone that's more your level. So if they do that, I just don't want the community to start getting frustrated that it's taking too long to find opponents, because either you want to find opponents quickly or do you want to find people that are like your level. As far as matchmaking, yeah, again, it's really tough. They could try to get a combination of things for your account. Maybe they could try to factor in. I mean, I think Hydra and Chimera scores factor into how good like your gear is, kind of. So maybe they could try to look into that. But again, it's like taking in PVE factors into PvP. Like I don't know if that really crosses over. Like if they want to do that crossover. But I mean, at the end of the day, they're the multi-million-dollar company. This is something that they got to figure out on the back end and fix, because there's a little bit of a problem.
Okay. Let me throw this out to you, chat. What about a boosting in stats for accounts that are going up? So let's say my account goes up against Cartman's, and for every 100 seasonal points, I get a 1% stat boost to all of my champion stats. Would that make the fight a little bit better? Would you guys think that that would be, you know what, I'd give it a shot. What do you guys think? So let's say for this one, you know, I'm sitting at 1347, he's sitting at 21. I'd be getting almost a 20% stat boost, or more, I guess, compared to him. Maybe not speed, but, you know, EHP damage, something like that. What do you guys think? Bick.
Yeah, so there are, I believe, the three hardest things to code are a proper random number generator. This does not exist in the entire world. The second one would be network connectivity. And the third one would be a proper matchmaking system. There is no game that has a perfect matchmaking system. This is an uncracked code, and there are many, many different ways of logic and different that can be applied to different games depending on the needs specifically for the game. So every game should have its own tailor-made matchmaking system. I don't think whatever implementation Plarium comes with is going to. There will always be issues.
You cut out right there. Can you repeat that?
Oh, I don't think whatever implementation.
You're still cutting out.
Our player. God damn it.
Whatever implementation.
I don't think any implementation Plarium comes up with is going to be able to satisfy the entire player base. And I just hope that they achieve a point where the player base doesn't actively hate the matchmaking. And I think that should be the goal. They need to set out a goal for them to make the player base not dislike Live Arena, because the majority of the players absolutely despises PvP. I think TTA and Live Arena are in debate for which one people hate the most. But their goal should be to come to a point where the matchmaking doesn't make people absolutely despise that 30 minutes of gameplay. And I think if they manage to do that, then they did a great job, and that will be it for me. There are multiple ways they can do this. They can make pre-created seasonal groups, just like how they have the tournament brackets, but they can basically expand this. And then as the season goes on, they can, let's say a season has 4 weeks, right? Then let's say every week the tournament group gets updated. So you first start out with people that are close by on your level, previous Live Arena season rating, and then they just like apply some mathematics that basically puts people in a group of, I don't know, 20,000 active players, and then from that pool in the first week you get matched against people in the same pool. And then in the second week, they run a different algorithm, basically recreates a new pool for every player. And then this pool basically will evaluate your current Live Arena season points. And then you basically just keep creating new pools every week. What this will do is this will then also make people that are slacking, if you like introduce an algorithm where the delta increase your seasonal live arena points suddenly skyrockets, then they can put you in one of the highest groups suddenly really spiked. So you obviously need a very, very rougher, tougher challenge. So people that are trying to game the system will then get automatically punished. And if you actually deserve to be up there, then that's great, because then if you have somebody like Crypto, they can just like take 3 weeks of vacation, come back, and then just still compete, you know? And this would then also, because you are now working with an ELO system,
Okay.
point, so you can then still at the same time compete for the top 100. So there are definitely ways that they can go about this, but the problem is, what is the investment on this? Like development time, how long do they have? How good are their developers technically, etc. And that's this is a very tough cookie to crack. And yeah, I hope they nailed it.
Okay. Gestel, what about you?
Yeah, I've pretty much to reiterate what everybody has already said. I think it's all excellent ideas. I was pretty much gonna say what Big was gonna say. It's pretty much impossible to come up with a good match system. I played Smite for 8 or 9 years, and that game is basically built around your MMR, and they were constantly updating, fixing, changing, totally revamping the entire time I played the game. So it is just something that nobody's figured out, and hopefully they could do something that will works better than it has been. The biggest drawback to this game is it's not enormous, right? Like we even have to have live arena blocks to kind of make sure people are going to get matched. Now they did widen that, but I think they did that because of seasons. So not necessarily because there's such a demand for it, but because of seasons. The only other thing I think we brought up in the past, we didn't today, just in general, I think a cap on fights that count towards the season wouldn't be the end of the world. Then it would be much more reliant on your kind of your win rate versus how many times you can play. I didn't have a chance to make the top 100 last season because people were like 2 weeks ago. I was like 1-0. I don't know. I was like 10 or 15 away, and the guys above me had 200, 300, 400 fights more than me. Like, how am I going to keep up with that for another week or two? Like, there's no way I would be able to. So, I feel like that's kind of the biggest hindrance to me.
Okay.
I just don't have the time. Like, even with doing 2 to maybe 3 hours of streaming live arena a day, especially during the season, the first season more so than the second, I couldn't keep up with these guys. So I think that's the biggest drawback for my sense. Like trying to compete with those fools. I don't have a driver, and I got other stuff to do, man. I gotta work. I gotta take care of all the other stuff. So
anybody out
it is
there?
what it is.
Gestel's looking for a driver.
Yeah, it was a drive.
Yeah. But I like your first idea, which is just make the game more popular, Plarium. Get more player base in here. I think that will solve everything. Although that might just make it more pay to win. And last but not least, let's get the point of view from our boy, the Dab Master, Mr. Zero Brew here.
Yeah, I think maybe y'all are gonna yell at me for saying this, but I think the matchmaking actually works very well. And that first change, well, hear me out.
I'm joking. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I feel like I don't know, at least when I play, maybe I don't do it as much as y'all do, but when I'm playing, I'm pretty much get matched. I'm around like let's just say I'm 9,500 points in terms of my overall live arena points. Now we'll say that's just constantly going up, right? And we're moving on up, and I think I'm like 1,800. in the world in terms of like the overall leaderboards, right? And again, that's not me doing it hardcore. That's doing maybe 5 or 10 a day. I feel like they do a good job of matching me around that same thing. Now I have fought the big Kraken ones, and I think that the big Kraken ones, the top 3 in the game, is only because they've sat there for 50 seconds and they just had to throw them a bone, if you will. And of course we got smoked. And I think that first change is going to fix, hey, I'm not going to lose 3 points. Maybe I'll lose 1 point if I fight Crypto or Cartman or something like that, right? And then I feel like I don't know. And again, I'm at a 52% win rate, and that's partly my fault because I just need to find my 5 or 6 go-tos and put all my best gear on them and get them super fast. I keep losing the speed meta right now, so that's partly my fault. But I feel like if I go on a win streak, and I was able to get the 10 win streak badge or whatever this last season. I wasn't able to do it the first season. Yeah, but I think I just picked better champions versus, let me try to Hansel and Gretel, and that just doesn't work. But but I don't know. I just feel like, I have gotten the 10 streaks now multiple times, and then I feel like they'll flip the coin on us, and I'll take a huge streak and then get my bot, and I take another streak and then I take my bot, and then all of a sudden, I don't know. I feel like there's something there that's happening correctly. Again, that's my perspective of it. And if they solve they threw a bone at the top 100 of the game, and I don't lose as many points, then I'm thinking that's going to be better for me. But that's might be the wildest take y'all have heard it yet. So
okay,
enjoy because like I said, you can always find someone that like 6,500 points that has a +2 Crixia and whatever. I'm just picking crazy mythicals.
Out of the meta, by the way.
I know. I just picked that off the top, whatever it is. But like you've seen the 3 or 4 mythicals that are all pluses, 6-star souls, and you're like, oh well, I'm losing this fight, for the most part, right? So again, maybe you top guys, Gestils and Final Capachos don't feel that way, but when I see that, I'm like, oh crap, this is gonna hurt.
Well, I mean, Ken's got the cock now, so he's pretty happy with that. He'll land himself in the top 100, I think, this go around. That said, we've ran over the time, so I do appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. We did have a lot of things to cover today, and I'm definitely sure we're going to have a lot more things to cover next week, including that free champion, which for some reason we don't even have the skill kit. What the hell? But that said, Gestel, where can people come and find you, brother?
Gestel Gaming on YouTube's and on the Twitches. I stream Sunday through Friday, 2 to 7 o'clock.
Awesome. PJ, what about you?
MXPJE on Twitch and on YouTube. Come say what's up.
Awesome. Bick, when can everybody come and find you?
Twitch.tv/Bickets.
Awesome. Ken, where can everybody come and find you?
Final Kenpachi, both YouTube and the Twitch. We are streaming every day, guys, at the Columbus Reset. Thank you.
Also, quick thing. We're going to have a little competition here between me and Ken. We're each pulling 350 primals from a viewer, and whoever gets the most legendaries wins. And I'm going to put up a little, I'm going to wager my 5 monthly gem pack, or my 5 gem packs that I give out from Plarium. If you win, you get to give out my 5. Jay, where can people come and find you?
Both on twitch.tv and YouTube. One name, JR Star.
Awesome.
It's like, damn, more work.
Hey, he gets to give out free stuff to his community if he wins. If he loses, I get to brag. Zero, what about you?
Yep, come find me out on the Twitches and the YouTubes at Zero Brew. And by the way, we are now streaming live on Sunday, Tuesday, and Friday evenings, 8 p.m. Central Time. That is the deal. So come check us out on either one.
Awesome, awesome. Plus, I know I'll win with the better reactions over him, you know? Hey, Bick, what you got for a shout out for me, bro?
I'm gonna shout out Pink Wards. He's a pseudo pro League of Legends player from way back in the day, famously known for his Shaco bamboozles and toxicity, which is always hilarious. But apparently he is also when the game was out newly. and he recently started playing the game again, and he's doing something he calls a raid lock in reference to Pokemon Nuzlocke, where basically if a champion dies in a dungeon, he has to chicken. And it's very interesting.
We'll have to check that out.
Yeah, he also has like a lot of opinions about the changes in the game, because he did play back in the day when the game was brand new, and I think it's very insightful for a lot of people, like new players, to see how somebody's dealing with the game, also for players to see somebody returning to the game, how they experience all the changes. So I'm going to drop this link on YouTube on the chat.
Sounds good. Thank you. Ken, what you got for a shout out for me? And don't
I'd like to shout out the Cursed.
Okay.
Did I? Okay. He's also the streamer friend, guys, playing Raid Shadow Legends. I'm going to leave his link over there on the chat, so make sure to check him out.
Awesome. Jay, what you got for a shout out for me, bro?
This week I'm gonna shout out Briggs 5D.
Okay. Zero, what you got for a shout out for me?
Two quick shout outs. One's a streamer and one's just an awesome person in the community. So Sauce, he let me log in and do a dwarf. He has Black Tusk, Arnorn, and Senna. If you haven't used those three in Arena, watch out. They are disgustingly nasty. In fact, I didn't want to stop recording the video. I was having so much fun playing with that team. So shout out to Sauce for letting us do that. And then, of course, shout out to Bronk Catherder. I know he raided earlier tonight or today, but there's his Twitch. And, of course, he's got his YouTube as well. But we did a collab this last week as well. On both of our channels. So shout out to Bron. He's the man, the myth, the legend. Check him out.
Awesome. PJ, what you got for a shout out for me?
Now all I can see is Bron Catheter whenever I look at his name. Oh man, I blame you. That's all I see
sucks,
now.
bro.
Yeah, that's all I see now. I blame you. But my shout out's gonna be to I Am Roadblock, an awesome dude. He's been on the podcast a couple times. Speaking of the cursed one, I got a raid from him.
But, I was actually going to raid him out.
Oh, no. But yeah, Roblox good dude. He's took a little bit of a streaming break. He does YouTube. I think he's getting back into streaming, I think this week or next week. So make sure you check him out on the YouTube and the Twitches.
Awesome. Shout out to the Cursed over here, catching up with us at the end of the podcast. Thank you very much for the raid, brother. We're actually going to raid you out, but we'll find someone else. Gesto, what you got for a shout out for me, bro?
Gonna raid. I'm not telling you who to raid, brother. We're gonna shout out my man Pokepink. He's been doing it a long time. Go over there, give him some love, give him a follow. Awesome dude, always positive, always sexy. Go give him a follow.
Definitely agree, and we will definitely raid out to him. My shout out is gonna go to Being Useless and Will, who are allowing both me and Ken to do a massive shard pull and see who's going to be the better luck person. So make sure you guys watch out for both of those videos. I'm going to say dropping tomorrow, maybe, Ken. And then we'll discuss and see who's got the better luck next week. And don't forget, if Ken wins, he'll be giving an extra 5 giveaways this month.
If you win, I will give you my Galeus.
You'll give me... You asshole.
Yeah.
We'll give you the...
You asshole. All right, guys. It was a lot of fun. Thank you all for joining us. We will be raiding out to Mr. Pogo Pink Tie. I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend. Good luck to everybody in CVC. Try not to go too hard, too crazy. Have fun. It's a game. Raid Shadow Legends. Just be happy. As always, much love, much appreciation. Be safe, be well, be good to each other. We'll catch you guys next time.